Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. Oh man, my eyes sound terrible. I'm still sick, apparently. Well, last night we had the Georgia runoff elections, and at this time, according to the New York Times dashboard and everything that I know about the statistics of which votes are outstanding and so on and so forth, it appears that the Democrats are going to win both seats. Now, to the charts. Markets have not actually reacted as strongly as one would think to that event. Just remember, this big down move was the Monday move, and many people said that it was about the Georgia runoff. So if they thought that the Democrats might win and that would be bad for the markets, then why isn't the Democrats actually winning, moving the S&P 500 more? I am not sure. We come over here to the treasuries. The treasuries definitely good dish, and I want to be short at 137.16. I usually don't come out and make a straight call like that, but 137.16 is about where the 10-year yield hits 1%, and at that point you are going to see all of the CTAs coming in and selling this. So the treasuries, we'll see. Maybe the reason that these have not moved a whole lot is because they just need to wait for the regular session. Maybe the S&P 500 will sell off once the open happens. I don't know. But generally in the treasuries, I'm expecting CTAs to come in and short the fuck out of this. Technical term there that I'm using. Anyways. When you come over here in oil hasn't really moved a whole lot. Gold actually taking a dive. Oy. Gold taking a dive. Why? Okay, so that definitely doesn't fit with what is happening. So I'm not quite sure why gold is selling. We'll have to look into that. Copper is higher though. And the big one, oh man, the dollar is just boom, boom, boom. Could they cross 89 today? It's totally possible, especially if the indexes were to rally. Anyways, so the general narrative here, though, is going to be reflation. The markets seem to be looking for reflation further. So another thing that we need to factor in here, first of all, there's a lot of this coronavirus stuff, right? So that might be a big factor in why we moved down on Monday, because there's a lot of coronavirus news too. Then another thing that we have to factor in with the Democrats winning here is that the chances of new stimulus checks, pretty high, right? Why did I move over to there? I want to be over here. Okay, whatever. Look at that. Look at that going my way. I wish I had gotten to 16. That's fine. I already knew the outcome, though. Yeah, it was kind of weird. I mean, I didn't really have a strong opinion going into it, but by the time the evening came, I was kind of starting to think that, the markets must know something. And I really think that one of the things that happened was the whole fight over the stimulus checks, right? It seems to me that Donald Trump coming in and really pushing the stimulus checks hard, and then the Democrats coming and behind it and saying, yeah, let's do it, and that whole fiasco, and then McConnell really just dragging his feet over it. I think that really hurt the Republicans in Georgia. It glitches and delays. When the first glitch came in early, I knew it was over then. What do you mean by glitch? I don't know, man. I like so here's the thing is like there's definitely the narrative that you're definitely going to see on the right here is, oh, they stole the election again. Well, maybe not. Maybe in a Republican area, when you have mail-in voting, more Democrats that were unlikely to vote before are more likely to vote by mail, and so you get better Democrat turnout, and that is what made the difference for them. Maybe there are demographic changes in Georgia that have pushed it Democrat. Maybe Georgia was never really all that Republican to begin with, because there are a lot of areas that are African American and have always been voting Democrat anyways, and it was maybe just a matter of time. I don't know. But it just drives me crazy to no end that all the conservative Republicans care about right now is that they think that this was stolen from them. You guys are missing the biggest, most important things right now. Okay? Number one, Georgia has 2 Democrat senators. All right? Now, you can say that that was stolen from them, but I say that in Georgia, it shouldn't even be close. The fact that it is even close tells you something about what is happening in this country with the demographics, with large numbers of Democrats leaving Democrat areas like California and New York and moving to conservative areas and taking over, and they're bringing their shitty political opinions with them. And that is a big problem for anybody that is a Republican. You guys in Utah, I'll tell you what, Utah is not actually conservative. Everybody says, "Oh, like Utah is like the most consistently conservative." Let me put some cold water on this idea. Utah is not naturally conservative. What do I mean by conservative? To me, the foundation of American conservatism is the government closest to the people governs best. It's favoring smaller government and more power to local governments versus federal governments. That is really the true foundation of conservatism in this country. Mormons don't actually believe that shit, guys. Like, the Mormon church is a monolith. They think that having one global church organization that takes care of the church over the whole world is a great idea. And in all fairness, it works pretty damn well. I need to stop swearing. They're totally okay with that being their government too. And how do I know this? Because I have to fight it every freaking year here in Utah. You have any idea how hard it was to get it, just to get some of these places to become cities instead of being attached to the county, because they thought that they were better off in the county. And it was very, very difficult. And why? Because Mormons don't really actually believe this stuff. The only reason that Utah is conservative is because of the gays. Man, like, I know that's the offensive truth, but it is. The only reason that the LDS church is Republican is because of the social issues. So, they've kind of been playing this back and forth over here in the Intermountain West for a while, where they're kind of like, oh, well, we're more like mainstream Republicans, or, you know, like Mitt Romney. I mean, great example. Becomes senator in Utah, and you look at all of the things that he pushes. When you look at it, in the end, you're really going to start asking yourself, is Mitt Romney really just a Democrat? And you can find out that there's a lot of them are. And then over time, because we've put ourselves in this situation, because Utah's had early voting for a very, very long time, you're going to start losing all of the things that makes Utah really attractive. And you're going to have situations like you're already having in Salt Lake City, where Democrats are going to win things. And we had a Democrat senator, and pretty soon Utah is going to be the same thing as Georgia. And then you go and you look in Texas, you guys in Texas, it's the same thing. You're going to have the same problem. The things that you like about your place, if you're in a Republican area and it's conservative and you like the laws that are there, that they're Republican and conservative, they're coming for them. They're coming for them. And that's the most clear thing that I think you can point to, is that the demographic shift, it's finally happening, and it is a disaster for Republicans. Number 2. Republicans fucking hate their party. Who's a Republican likes the Republican Party right now? None of them like it. And this whole election fraud thing is just lashing out over the thing that you really don't like. Here's the thing that you actually don't like. The fact that Republicans basically just kind of placate you and say that you're on your side, but then when push comes to shove on every detail, they always side with the establishment and with large corporations and screw you over. Everybody knows it. We've only been supporting Republicans because the only alternative is that the Democrats are in charge. But here's the thing. Yeah, Republicans are just Democrats 10 years ago. Exactly, Uzi. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys, and this is the ugly one. Oh, you have to vote Republican, because if you don't, then Democrats will have a majority in the Senate and they'll be able to pass whatever they want. Well, guess what? They already have a majority in the Senate and they can pass whatever they want. So what is the difference if they have a 50+1 majority or they have a 52 majority? You know what I mean? Why at this point should any Republican vote for a Republican? unless they are like fully committed to tearing down the establishment and large corporations. There you go. The GOP deserves its forthcoming extension. I think that Mitch McConnell thinks that they're going to have this big fight today. Because there's this whole thing about certifying the electors, and there's a question about if Mike Pence can actually just not certify them on his own. And there was a story that he wasn't going to, and then Donald Trump put out a statement that said that him and Pence agree that he can, and I don't know what's going to happen. I can almost promise you that Joe Biden is still going to be president. I'd vote Democrat down the line if they weren't flirting so hard with Marxism and radical supremacy. Racial supremacy. Yeah. I tell you what, man. One says a plan to change my party affiliation. Yeah. So I think what ends up happening is the Republican Party detonates. Oh yeah, I didn't finish my thought there. I kind of lost track of my thoughts. I must not be on yet. Mitch McConnell thinks that they're going to have this whole thing is going to blow over, and then it will be back to business as usual. He'll get to be the top guy in the minority party. They can play that they're being the opposition when in reality, these guys will all just kind of vote the same way anyways. And when something really matters that the corporations really want, they let it through, and otherwise they pretend that they're opposition, right? He thinks that's what's going to happen. Oh, no. These guys are pissed. The Make America Great Again crowd, they will want revenge. Donald Trump will want revenge, and they will come. Every Republican that wasn't completely on board, anybody that votes no on this or votes yes on certifying the electors, they're going to come for him. And they're going to try and push him out of office. And the Republican Party is going to completely self-destruct. self-destruct. That's what I foresee happening, because like I said, you're going to be in the minority anyways. Democrats can pretty much pass whatever they want anyways, and especially if they get rid of the filibuster. If they get the filibuster, then all bets are off. There's no reason for a Republican to vote for a milquetoast Republican anymore. There will be a formation of a third party. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Now, here's the other thing that we don't necessarily consider, but you do have to factor in, because there's always this thing like, Republicans, they never stick together. Man, look at the level 2 there. Did you see when they stacked at 11.5, how they pulled at both 11, 10, 10.5, and 10? So everybody knows it, man. The market maker's pulling out in front of it. They don't want to get in front of this thing. Anyways, people always say, Democrats always stick together, but Republicans don't and fight amongst themselves. But I've heard Democrats say that same thing about themselves. But here's something that I've found. The larger of a group you have, the more likely you are to have an individual instance of something happening. So let's say, for instance, that there is like a 0.5% chance that any one individual senator will go against their party and go rogue or whatever the deal is, right? Well, the larger your party, the more seats you have in Congress, the more likely that one of them is going to do that. So it's not going to be all hunky-dory over in Democrat land, right? There is a real problem over there. And now that these guys have like complete power and they're going to start pushing like what they really want, and there's actually a real chance that some of these stupid ideas are going to get passed, there's going to be a lot of true liberals in the Democrat Party. They're going to be like, okay, wait, hold up. And yeah, they'll fight it out over on the Democrat side too. Republicans are spineless, lazy, and too prone to fall off a conspiracy cliff. Well, the conspiracy cliff is just insane. But like, this is the thing, is like, I've just been watching this, and it's like, what do you even do? Like, what can I say to people to convince them that the voter fraud is not the thing that they should really be focused on right now? It's pointless. It's pointless. And it was like Uzi was saying, like, you knew what was going to happen. Like, the further along that I go in this, the more I'm starting to feel like, yeah, it's like the die has already been cast and you know what's going to happen. And then you get to that next step and you look at the next thing and you know what's going to happen there. And you just know that it's going to happen because though that's the way that people want to go. And even though you know that it's stupid, and that they should just, man up, you know that it's going to happen. You just can't convince them. It's like this whole thing with the freaking, taking too large of a stop strategies or doubling down strategies. I know it's bad. You know it's bad. You're going to get this guy, he's going to come in and he's going to say, oh, well, I've been trading this way and I've been doing great and I've made tons of money. And guess what? They've made money. There is literally nothing you could possibly tell them that would convince them that it's a bad strategy and that it's going to blow up in their face eventually, until it actually happens, like it happened to many people on Monday. And it's the same thing in the Republican Party. Like, I know what's going to happen. I can tell them what's going to happen. I can tell them that it's ultimately negative for their goals. But there's nothing you can do about it. So that's my whole monologue to start the day. Now, in other news, I was looking into yesterday why some of my strategies were not taking trades. And apparently it had to do with adding multiple data series, not having enough look back data when I was running it over here and so forth. So I actually decided to try and do a deeper backtest on these, doing it with tick data. Because I was noticing that some of them, like I ran through and ran the trades to see if it matched that day, and it didn't. And so I made some changes and fixed that. And when I fixed that, some of them didn't make it. Some of them didn't make it, guys. So Travis, Reginald, and Sean all are in the dump right now. So I got 4. Only one of the order flow strategy. Well, two of the order flow strategies made it, which quite surprised. But I'm going back now doing it with that different system and seeing if I find something different. Get Travis a 6er of natty eyes. So got what, 4 running right now? Yep. And one of them went long. Believe it or not. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. Somebody asked me a question earlier. What was that question? I got so caught up in yapping. Oh, Steve asked, do Dems have Senate control or not just yet? So they have a majority in the Senate, but it's only from a tiebreak. So that's important to note. Okay, ask her. The indicator with the green market depth background, how does it work and is it available for sale? Oh, you're talking about this one? This is the Jigsaw Vista chart. So it's a feature of Jigsaw. I do have an affiliate link for Jigsaw. So if you decide to get Jigsaw, you can support the channel by using that affiliate link. And the way that it works is the brighter the green, the larger the orders are, the larger, the more resting orders at that price there are. All right. Okay. Feeling a little faint again today. Yeah, there you go. What is the best futures trading software platform? So I don't think I ate enough for breakfast, but I'm just like, okay, go have another English muffin. Could try eating some pottage. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. People want free things but don't realize working people just get taxed even more. Yeah. Well, we'll probably get another stimulus to check, I would assume. but there's consequences at some point. The sad thing is that by the time the consequences come, probably everybody will be in denial about it. Okay, so I'm gonna step away for a second, alright? I'll be back. Alright, so interesting that my robot taking a trade, things being pretty wishy-washy. Make yourself useful and hit the like button. Well, yeah. Thank you, Win. Alright. We should probably check a Twitter here. See, they're all going to be, you know, upside risk for growth. Bank of America Global Research. Democrats are on the verge of winning 2 Georgia Senate elections, according to news agencies. Multiple sources have called the race for Warnock, while Decision Desk has called the race for Ossoff. With these victories, Democrats would gain full control of Congress and the White House. Democrats would have authority over the legislative agenda in the Senate, which in the near term raises the possibility of more stimulus. In addition, Democrats will have control over the presidential appointment confirmations, including appointments to regulatory positions, cabinet, and judicial positions. But perhaps more importantly for the markets, the Democrat sweep clears the way for the use of reconciliation to set the spending and tax levels without the threat of filibuster. In our view, the Democrats will likely use these powers to pursue several policy goals, including infrastructure expansion, including green initiatives, as well as social goals such as access to healthcare and increased social and economic equality. As we've written previously, we think Dems would inject a $2 to $4 trillion in deficit spending, with much of it front-loaded in the 10-year budget window via reconciliation. This would provide upside risks to our 2H 2021 outlook on GDP growth and inflation. So you see this, that it's like, I think it's so weird. So what do you guys think? Do you believe that the Monday action was because of the Georgia runoffs, or do you believe that it was because of coronavirus? Because I'm starting to think that Wall Street doesn't see Democrats winning the election there as such a bad thing. Okay, I can see my Fourier thing taking along too, huh? Well, we'll see how it goes out. That one is kind of random, right? It was smart money exiting NQ. It could be that they were just hedging. You know, like Monday was a real bloodbath, but that doesn't mean that it has to be, you know, really actually a significant change, you know? Okay, I got a little bit of food I'm going to eat here, right? I'll move that stuff so you can see the little order books down at the bottom. The tapes, rather. Well, that was an aggressive move down there in ES. I'm not surprised. It's kind of funny. I looked at the robots and I was like, well, I think that's correct, but I don't think that they're going to win. We can get Brandon to take a trade, then I'd be happy. But that move down sure looks a lot like informed trading. The bonds came back up considerably as well. No, here comes Donald Trump. They just happened to find 50,000 ballots late last night. The USA is embarrassed by our fools. Our election process is worse than that of third world countries. Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. Have you tried MT5 too? Listen, if there is any platform that I would recommend you not use for your futures trading, it would be MT5. It's just not a very good platform. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm eating some food here, Ace. We'll be here in a second. Oh, you know what? I forgot I didn't. Oh, you know what? I didn't need to turn on. I went through and I did an exercise yesterday trying to take the original Ace Trade robot and applying like daily risk management to it, and it did not work very well. I thought for sure it was like, oh, if I make it so that it takes one good trade and then it stops, and then it'll like allow it to take a really huge drawdown that most days will be positive and it'll maybe come. No, not even close. Not even close. Explains my banking account. Yeah, it was. It seemed to me with the straight strategy the way it was that there were just some days where it half of the days it works really well and half of the days it's dismal. I personally would rather program under C# on NinjaTrader than MetaTrader any day. So here's the thing. Here's why MetaTrader is so hated. It's not really a very solid platform. And its primary audience is Forex. Right. So this was the one like everybody in Forex used MT5 because it was like the only option, really, right? And they have this built-in thing where you can like buy and sell algorithms. But pretty much everything that you find on that marketplace is trash. The ones that are like look reasonably okay basically are just taking really big losses. They're doing risk arbitrage. So NinjaTrader is like I was saying, if there's any platform that I've heard people complain, because I haven't really used MT a whole lot, but if there's any platform that I hear people complain about, it is MetaTrader. Without question. Without question, it's MetaTrader. Yeah. And I quite enjoy it. And then I can help you if you program it in Ninja, right? C#. Yeah. I have to say, because we're having an argument about this on Reddit the other day, because there are some people that really don't like NinjaTrader for whatever reason. But you got to realize that a big part of what goes on is like people, especially futures traders, you're going to put a lot of thought behind what platform they use. And so they believe that the platform they chose was an edge, and they'll defend it. You know what I mean? Because if you say that a different platform is better, then that means, oh no, like it's an affront to their ego at that point, because then that means, oh, I'm not as good of a trader as I claim because I picked the wrong platform. But the reality is that almost all of the platforms, except for MetaTrader, are acceptable and have advantages in one way or another, and there's space for all of them in this marketplace. But anyways, so there's these people that don't like NinjaTrader, and the big benefit that you get from NinjaTrader is the indicators. So I said to them, go and try and make a footprint in NinjaTrader, and then try and make one in Sierra charts, and you'll understand why the programming is so much more popular in NinjaTrader, because you have to do it in C++, which is harder already, but then they don't do anything for you. Their framework that they have over in Sierra charts is just awful. So it's 10 times the work to do anything over there. And they were like, well, Sierra already has a footprint chart and it's better than. And now, that wasn't the fucking point, guys. The point is that if you are making one, it's harder. That was the point. Okay. So I regret using that argument on them. What I should have said was this: if you go to futures.io and you look at the different categories, there's like maybe 50, 100 indicators that you can download for Sierra charts over there. There's 1,000 for NinjaTrader 8, right? That's what you get with NinjaTrader 8. It is the most extensive futures trading platform for custom indicators. There are so many indicators and things that you can try. You could spend your whole life just downloading stuff for NinjaTrader and backtesting it and seeing if it works. And I do a lot of that. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to do indicator soup and program your own strategies based on that, NinjaTrader is the place to be. On the other hand, if you don't plan on using any custom indicators at all, if not even no charts, then you might want to do Jigsaw. Jigsaw does have charts, but you don't want to do anything custom, then Jigsaw, right? If you want it cheap, then Sierra charts. Yeah, Jigsaw is the best DOM. It really is. SFX, I have no clue what that is. Sounds like a stock. You see that downtick? I guess that one wasn't so bad, like the 11 and 10 half didn't pull. So I think what you're getting now is probably a bunch of guys doing the same thing that I am, where they're like, well, I want to be short. I'll take some sequential profits in here because it's ranging. And so these guys maybe are a little bit less prone to completely pull now. How to choose the best period for indicators? Ugh. Hold on. Let me take a bite here first, and then let me think about how I want to answer that. Have you heard of Mr. Ed Sayoka? No, I that is not the first time I've heard that name. I've not read any books by or about him though. Okay, so what are the best periods for indicators. So what you can do is you can go and you can get your indicator and you can say, this is the way that I want to use the indicator, and program up some strategy that tries to take advantage of the indicator in that way and back test it. And then NinjaTrader provides ways for you to optimize your back test and iterate on the period. So you go in and you just set in your strategy, make the period a variable, and then you change that through. Okay. Now, chances are when you go and you do that, you're going to find that it doesn't make money. So then maybe you don't want to use the indicator anymore. I don't know. But I'm also going to bet. Do I want to say bet? Chances are, from my yeah, that's the way I should say it. My experience shows that the answer is going to be 5, 10, or 50. So the reason that 5 often works well is because it will give you the most signals and the fastest signals. 10 works well because it is the most popular. The 10-minute SMA is probably the most widely watched moving average, for instance. It just is. The market reacts a certain way to the cross of the 10-minute moving average, merely because it's popular, I believe. And then there's a 50. And I'm not sure what it is about the 50. I think that there are people watching a 50-minute EMA. I have one of those on my chart, so it could have something to do with that. I don't know. But when you're looking on a higher time frame sort of a thing, 50 usually often works better. And there's some strategies I've tested that kind of get more into the swing trading kind of a scenario. So when you're swing trading, it's not surprising to see that it makes money, especially if you're buying. But on a risk-adjusted basis, the strategy might not be very good. But those are usually the ones that I've tested have been based on 50. So usually 50 is better. But here it's just the same. This just highlights the issue that you're always going to have with indicators, right? If you set the period too low, then you're going to get a lot of signals, and a lot of those signals are going to be false, and so you lose money off of the churn from the signal going back and forth. And if you set it too high, then it's late, and by the time you get in, the move is basically over. So, but if you really want to optimize an indicator, that's the way I would go about it. Do you use ATR? So I used to have it on one of these charts, but I haven't been putting it out there recently. So ATR is interesting. Maybe I should go back and do a little bit more investigation on that, but I think the issue that I'm having with ATR is that it seems that the average true range is not what we really care about. You know what I mean? So like if I'm a market maker and I'm trying to determine how far I need to leave my spread so that I make money, you can't use ATR, I don't think. I think that you have to be able to plan for the largest swing that has happened. That if there's like the big cluster of volume comes in and everybody moves, everybody buys at the same time, how far does it move? And you have to factor it off of that. So I think you would want to use something different, like the maximum true range within that time period or something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That would depend on the time frame of the ATR. Yeah, but that's exactly the thing though. Is like you're gonna get this market, right? And you can get this market that's like, And what will the ATR say? The ATR will say this. You know. Links usually get removed by YouTube unless you're a moderator. Probably just go to put it in Discord is usually the best thing. Anyways, when the reality, so this will say something like the average true range is 4 ticks or whatever, when really it's this 16 tick one that you want to worry about, right? So I think that this sort of a thing matters, but I'm not so sure that it's ATR is the one. So you notice that so many scalpers, especially over, like if you go into the Jigsaw chat, that they're using the swing indicator. Or isn't that, what do they call it? Zigzag in NinjaTrader 8. And they have ones that will, it'll show you the swings generally speaking, and then it will tell you how far they were. Yeah, zigzag. Because that's a better indicator of what they're looking for. In that example, value moved lower, so I think market maker will shift lower and market maker around lower levels. Yes, but the question that I'm asking is let me go back, because I'm not sure that you caught what I was trying to emphasize there or not. So I'm doing a little bit of market making here, right? I sold it up in here. Part of that was because I really want to get my average above 16. But why did I pick 4 ticks? Well, because that's based off of how far the market is moving. I don't know the most efficient way to choose it, but these algorithms say I'll choose it based off of things that are happening. And one of the big inputs that goes into how the market maker decides to set his spread is like, what was the largest single volume move at the time. So if they're if their market maker's holding bids all through here, and some really big market sell event comes through here, and it's so fast that he's not able to cancel his orders and he eats it all, and let's just say that he's able to hold that inventory and everything, then what he's going to have to do to compensate is increase his spread. So knowing how large the swings have been is a key factor to determine how much you can get, and is probably and maybe a better indication of what you can get than the ATR. Yeah. I'm getting a lot of new people coming in and saying Trump 2020. Maybe it's because I put in there that the Democrats won the Georgia runoff, and they think that maybe this is a Democrat stream and they're going to troll us or something. Have you attempted to do that, i.e. make a slow market maker bot with a larger spread? So I'm reading a book right now that I believe when I'm done reading it, really, since I've gotten sick, I haven't been reading that, but I believe at the end of that, I should be able to create a market making robot of that nature, but I don't think I will. I don't know. I don't think that it would be of any benefit to me, because the thing that you've got to realize is that the reason that these guys make money is because they get there first in the queue. Really, if you don't get a good enough position in the queue, then you don't get filled enough to make it to overcome the risk of when a informed move against you happens. Makes sense? There's John. Yesterday, John was like, I'll make sure that I come in on time tomorrow. But you're an hour late still. No. If they want to be first in the queue, why would they carry inventory? The idea of being first in the queue is to get out fast as well. Well, yeah. So I don't think that they want to carry inventory. Like, that's the thing. So I'm making a little bit of a guess here because I haven't gotten this far, but I believe that what it is that you really don't want to hold a lot of inventory. So, like, say I'm market making long. I don't know why you would want to market make long, but say you were market making long here, right? Well, you're going to have picked up a lot of inventory on that move down, and you don't want that because you're losing money as each step it goes down, right? So any kind of volume that buys up into it, you're going to try and take profits on those every tick, right? So they really want to have the best spot in the queue so that they can take their one tick profit as quickly as possible, right? It's early here in Hawaii. Oh, I didn't realize you were in Hawaii. Which MM? No, it's a book called Markets Under the Microscope. Anyways, and generally they're taking one. I mean, that's what my model seems to show, or that's one of the assumptions that it makes, is that if they could make a profit, then they'll take it. So being in the queue, they want to be in the queue. I think these are ones that are really influential. I think that he's taking it at every price, and that his main edge is that he's always the first one in the queue. That's why you'll get these algorithms that are putting, size all the way down here, right? Yeah, I don't know if they really carry that much inventory. Think of it this way. Carrying inventory is like a necessary evil for the market maker, right? Because the more inventory that you have on, the more risk you're carrying, and the more you're going to lose if the bad thing happens. So in reality, they would rather take the profits and get the inventory off if they can. They only hold the inventory because they have to. And that's taking on a lot of risk for them, but that's how they make their money. Right? So they are primarily, that's why their edge is primarily being the first in the queue. Because if they don't actually get filled on those little ones where, only 500 hits it and they don't actually clear the price, right? If they're not getting that, then I don't think that they make money. And I think that they have to put orders at almost every price, at least in the 10-year, every price. And I think that you still have to have a pretty big bankroll to be able to hold the amount of inventory that you sometimes end up taking on. So this is where it's like, I think that it's going to be fun, and I want to understand more about how these algorithms work, and hopefully so that I can find some market inefficiencies that I can take advantage of. But I don't foresee myself writing a market making algorithm and actually running it live, but that probably wouldn't make money. Probably wouldn't make money. But we could do it just to see. Like, we could put one on here. Maybe I turn the Ninja Trader bridge back on so that you can see the Ninja account, and we can have it put orders at every price and see how it works out. And use some of the more popular and well-known algorithms that are in the academic literature. I'm going to bet, though, that once we do it, it would be not as interesting as you'd think it would. Like, the initial thing would be interesting and be like, oh, okay, so it does exactly what we thought it would. And then after that, it was like, well, no, duh. No, duh, and it doesn't really help me. But you could go somewhere. Because I mean, I have these 4 strategies that I'm running right now. They backtest pretty good over the past year. Just because they worked over the past year doesn't mean that they will continue to work. And they're kind of indicator soup, I guess I could say. I honestly don't have a ton of confidence that they're really going to work. You know, I'm hoping that they work long enough to like pass a combine or something like that. But we'll see what they do. So once I'm through with all of that, then what do I do? Right? Well, at that point, I really think that if you're going to write algorithms, that we're going to have to move beyond indicator soup, right? 2 minutes to the open. Thank you, Ace. You haven't taken any trades yet, have you, by the way? Don't trade NQ at the open. Well, so there's a lot more people here, so I'll just kind of go back over really quickly what I was saying at the open. I find it curious. On Monday, we had a really bad down day, and when we were looking for reasons for the move, because to me it was quite unexpected, one of the major theories out there was that it had to do with the Georgia Senate runoff and the changes in the predicted markets and so forth that suggested that the Democrats were actually going to win those races. And the Democrats have won those races, essentially. It's not like an official thing, but based off of all of the data that we have and everything, it's pretty much guaranteed now that the Democrats are going to win both of those seats. So at that point, now it's the bad scenario is in. The Democrats are going to try and raise taxes and all of these other things. The market should be moving down, right? But they're not. The overnight move, of course, in the treasuries is just like, you know, easy call. But in the E-mini, not sure. We're not sure what's going on. Now, one of those reasons might be that you're going to get stimulus and you're going to get inflation. And so that's maybe actually a reason to buy stocks. So let's see what they do. It wasn't a bad down day. It was a great day. It was a bad down day, dude. like the degree of the move compared to what volatility was expecting was one of the most extreme moves we've ever seen. Like, I know that there was larger percentage declines in the indexes in the past year, but there's only like 1 or 2 days in all of 2020 that matched in terms of volatility. Projected volatility. Again, you have an update when, yeah, sure. Although, like, don't kid yourselves. We all know that when the S&P 500 is down, that the retail day traders tend not to do as well. And there was definitely some retail traders that got screwed over on Monday. I've seen some screenshots and I've heard some stories. And there was, in particular, some people that that tried doubling down and really lost a lot. Okay, so the first move was a buy. It snapped back. There was more selling on the snapback. So, yeah, Hmm. Well, Fourier is long here. He's going to be lucky, though, because he took it just before the open, right? Chuck Schumer says, buckle up, buckaroo. What? Oh, please change the date. You're right. Thank you. Okay. There could also be this dichotomy, right? There could be a bunch of retail, like I would bet that retail would be prone to say, this is a sell the equities event, right? But then some of the institutions saying, oh no, this is good, we'll get inflation, buy this. But there's going to be obviously, with the way the E-mini is moving right now, there's some disagreement in the tape, right? So sweeps. All right. Yeah, the 10-year broke 1%. Oh no. You know what? I'm actually surprised that the Treasury is not more active than it is. Okay. Thinkorswim was broken for you? That's not good. Oof. That's not what you're supposed to see happen. Wow. There is so much activity behind that my machine is now having a hard time keeping up. Look at the 10-year, just kadoosh. Missed it. Okay, so I need to come over here and try to do something about this. Oh, it is 20. Oh, okay. They're all 20? Okay. Well, I need to come in here into rhythmic and change it in rhythmic. Well, let's just leave it. I think we're fine now. I'll just kind of put this over here. Just need a faster CPU, apparently, guys. Oh, look, we finally got filled. Good. Happy. Happy day. Happy day. And my basis is above 16. Good deal. Who shorted you? Did I take a short there? I don't recall. The jigsaw order window died on me, so I have to reload it. I did take one sell, apparently. Oh, no. That was yesterday. Okay. Nope, I did lose on buying on one of them, though, so. How many contracts? I only did one. I actually, you know what really happened was when I went to bed last night, I looked at it. I said, yep, you just sell this. So I sold it and I went back and I came back in and it was still where I started. So we started at 14.5. And then after we bottomed and came back, I said, well, okay, I can grab some in here. So I did, mostly to get my cost basis above 17. We could continue to do some market making in here too, yeah. But I think that we would want to be doing it somewhere up in here, right? So we can maybe do a second contract. But it was 2. It was only 2. Did one and then I did another one down at 12.5 and then. Okay. Oh, did I get hit a stop loss on that one? He's gonna get slaughtered. I'm not so impressed with the robots today, but let's see. Well, that was not good. Well, the trend is overwhelmingly long. So now I'm kind of starting to game out in my head where they can actually go to. Overnight high 37, 34. This kind of in this 15 area is a little bit of a resistance. We also got the PMI here, right? So PMI composite looking for 55.7 and services 55.3. Huh. Okay, 10 seconds to the news. They're buying into it. I don't know if that's because of the news, but be careful if this news is bad. Okay, so the composite is lower than forecast. 54. 54.8 versus 55.2 expected. And the composite 55.3 versus 55.7. So number's not quite as good as expected, but it's not a huge market moving number. There wasn't any polling going into it or anything. And it's not like a crazy decrease. We should look to see if there's anything comes out, because the thing that I screwed up the other day was like numbers like that came out, and then they saw stuff in the deeper in the report that I wasn't paying attention. So just stay sharp. Market activity report methodology. I went googling. I don't know what that is. Trade counts. Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that that exists. I don't know how useful that would be to me. Nah, it's okay. We can find it if we really care. Um, So this is interesting. My overextended short strategy does seem to have found something. I'm wondering if we need to just bring his target in because he is getting favorable excursion. It seems like the thing that he's picking up on is like a really smaller in nature, and that on some days it's not a very good trade. So like on a day like today where there's clearly some macro going on and everything, that's going to be a bad call. You're going to want to wait for it to come back or something. I'm also wondering if you just mark this as, okay, here's the point, wait for the pullback of so much, I don't know, take it long, something like that. Okay, my 4-year strat. Took that. Oh, is this going to do it again? Yeah, it is. If I don't appear online for the next few weeks, please call someone at the Securities Exchange and ask if they alerted Homeland that some old lady with a ferret is asking too many questions. Okay, well, I think I want to just kind of let those ones run. Wanted to prove myself a few times first by just taking a few short ones. I was able to get 1, 2, 3, 4 winners and 2 losers on that. So that's acceptable. This over here is just like, oh my gosh, wow. So let's pull up Fidelity here and see what we can learn about the markets from looking at the individual stocks. Oh my, so Tesla is up 2.5% today. Good overnight gap from them. VIX just getting crushed. Yeah, they still haven't overdone this bit from Monday, but it looks like techs are still struggling with Sumo Logic not so hot. Rare earth elements kind of where it was. MP slightly higher today. By the way, I was going to wonder what Rich thought of Material Corp at 30. That was a good, kind of seemed like maybe a good price. Apple down today. Yeah, it seems to me like that the market doesn't think that the Democrats will be too kind to the big O technology companies. Gold has been coming back so hard. It had like a really good run here. First started looking at it, and it's come back pretty hard. Why is that one taking it on the nose so much during this downturn compared to the other ones? MP long term hold. Nah, but that's not the question. The question is that particular price, 30. Which is to say, let me rephrase the question. Why has Material Corp been moving down so much over the past few days? Three months is too far out. 1 month. Okay. They have come back to where they initially broke out at as 30 acceptable price. I mean, we could totally buy some here. Hold on. You're not going to engage in that question? You don't know? If you don't know why it's been coming down or if that's a good price, then that's fair. That's fine. I thought maybe you might. It's a more interesting question in Colt. I don't know if I actually want to get involved in Colt. Yeah. I want to add a new chart. I want to look at, there was another one that I've been I want to watch here. And it is Kake. Okay. I don't want today. I want like past month or so. Cool. So they're up pretty good today. You do your homework on those? Well, so here's what I do know. Okay. They're both material companies. They're both miners. So on one hand, and they're both involved in rare earth elements. So on one hand, they seem to be doing well in part because there was a bill that is intended to help those companies. But then also, more importantly, Jim Cramer gave them a boost way back. That's why it gapped up here, was because of Jimmy. That was Jimmy. So now we come back. So there's been some days like this where it gapped really hard, and I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that, other than that there was other following the indexes. So I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why that one works. So it's well, if we liked it here, and then we should wait for it to come back, and this is an okay place to buy it. From a technical perspective, it's an okay place to buy it. So that's what I know on that one. Well, any kind of analyst on television is going to have a dubious utility because you're going to have too many people watching them, and it causes temporary mispricings in anything that you get, right? But the fact of the matter is, he mentioned MP on the show and it moved. Oh yeah, we need an energy plate. That's what it is. So I was thinking really hard. It's like there's another one. There's another one that I want to look into. So like, could do a restaurant on the consumer side, and then, but I think I still want to be kind of have some inflation stuff, and I think that the call there might be an energy stock. Oh man, Goldman's doing well today. Whew. Whew. Anyways, I think that if you're starting out, that you learn a lot of really good stuff from watching Kramer's show. Like, especially that first little bit, it kind of like you start to understand what the big money managers think about and how they make their decisions, and then you can kind of start to get an idea of how to do it. But you definitely shouldn't follow the recommendations, right? Then you go back and you do, but you would just follow his process. Go in and say, okay, what are the trends that I'm interested in, and what is the best company within that sector, and how to value which one is the best, and all that stuff. Yep. So he got stopped out. Is he gonna do it again? Hmm. Now on this one, hold on. I mean, I think the robot is doing what it's supposed to do. It's just, this is a market that it's going to do really, really poorly on, and Fourier is going to do really, really well on. And you can see they've basically been canceling each other out. So I'm wondering, okay, so if it's trends that this has a problem with. Oh, I don't factor in that. Okay. So I think I can improve that strategy a bit. Read is, I haven't read that one. The one, so the anytime that his show comes up, I just always think back to his book Mad Money, which I did read, and I would recommend. And the thing that I find so funny about the whole thing is that everything that people complain about when it comes to Jim Cramer, he basically addresses in the book and says, like, don't fall for that. Like, there were the big complaint is, oh, if you take all of his recommendations and you game it out, he's not a very good stock picker, or whatever the deal is, right? That's not what. Okay, the reason that Jim Cramer made so much money when he was on the street was because he was a good money manager, not necessarily because he was a good stock caller, right? And of course, he would have a whole bunch of other people in that organization that would help him do that. But he straight up says in the book, if I recommend something on the show, don't buy it. Like, if you really, really like it, like, wait a month. He straight up says that in the book. And all of these people that get all over him for all of the recommendations, it's like, Read his book. He's saying that you shouldn't follow those. He says in it that you shouldn't follow those because he's too widely followed. Well, let's just keep going. We're not quite to the overnight high yet, are we? Nope. 36. And the next thing is that it's very clear he understands that the hype is the thing that gets people, he understands. It's just like, I mean, I understand it too. I'm just not willing to make a fool of myself, But it's like, if you don't like the way he acts on the show, it's, well, you can't blame a guy for making for making a popular television show. Oh yeah, and ignore his political opinions because he's like a total communist. You say that he closed his hedge fund down due to redemptions? I don't know. I mean, he's got that charitable trust that he runs, but my understanding is that that it's nothing special. That just like most funds, that it kind of underperforms just a little bit from the index. I think you'll do as well as most professionals. Most professionals don't beat the market. Let's not overrate my industry. Yeah. It's just the thing something that I find so frustrating in the market is that everything has to be like an all or nothing to everybody. Right? Why can't people sit down and say, okay, you can pick up this good piece of information here and this good piece of information here and make a nuanced decision about what's going on? I have to sit down and say, oh no, it's either Jim Cramer is the savior of the universe or he's an evil person. No, he's a guy that was on Wall Street that understands the way that Wall Street works and gives a pretty good analysis in terms of like what people are actually thinking and arguing about. And then you can look at what he says and you can make your own decisions about what you think about those particular decision points. And you don't have to follow his individual stock recommendations because you don't want to be taking stock recommendations from a widely followed analyst. You want to be in the stuff before the widely followed analysts call them, right? That's why MP was such a good one, is if you were in that like below 30. Still going. I think I could add something on this, that if the trend is so strong to not take this, but then I think that you wouldn't be catching the right trade. So I'm not sure what to do about him. At what point do you sit down and say the E-mini isn't a trend and you don't want to sell it? Now, where did he? So here again, he took it. He got a little bit of favorable. If I come in here and look at the strategy performance of it, I can just look at this and determine. Yeah, so it's taken 3 and they've all lost. That's funny. Oops, let's do it in ticks. Yeah, see, it says that it's getting 11. I wonder if I could test it as a arbitrage strategy. Like, if I go in and I say, give me a 16 tick stop and 8 tick target, it seems like most of the time it would catch it. Jim Cramer is the guy who got it all. No, he was, well, he was the one that really got on television and got really upset about what was going on before shit really hit the fan. That's what he's truly famous. That's what made him a household name. Before that, it was just like only CNBC viewers. And then he went on that rant. And then the crisis happened and it was like, oh, he was right. And he was right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when you so you'll see CNBC will post these stories from time to time where Jim Cramer says X thing about the markets, and like when I read those stories, and I would pay attention to them because it gives real insight that you as a retail trader generally don't have about what money managers are thinking. Like, what are this is something that I think you should follow. And I don't think that there's a better place to get that kind of commentary than from Jim. See, he's going to take it again, isn't he? Yes, he is. It is crazy. He is one crazy mofo. Well, another thing that we can do is we can go and look at how big of a drawdown we should let him take. So you notice how that's so interesting to me. Like, here's the thing that well, let me just explain. So here he took the short, right? Look, it wasn't terrible. Like it went its way a little bit. So maybe I'm definitely. Anyways, there's one downturn, and then look, that was it. Like, that was the most that it ever got. And that's the second or third time it's done that. So now I'm sitting here like, so have I actually stumbled upon a real pattern and I just need to adjust the algorithm to account for that? Or is it just something that's just happening today? But I'm definitely going to have to do some more testing on that one today. I could come in and I could say, if there's a certain amount of trend then you really just don't take it. I could also try and just take advantage of, okay, just take a little tinier trade, but how is your stop location calculated? It's basically just 16 ticks. So I'll go back and I'll do testing and I'll find out what kind of a stop works best for it. I have a hard time believing trailing stops won't help with these. It would have worked well there. Well, in every one of these instances, it would have still lost. So just keep in mind that this strategy that we're talking, the inventory bars, this overextended short bit right there is a counter trend strategy. The robot went short, yes. Well, one robot went short and the other robot went long. The robot that went long, is he only taken one today? I think he's taken more than one. Oh, he's taken 3. Oh, that's funny. He'd take 3, but only one of them worked. They were all longs. So he's doing something right. That one's working as intended, for sure. So what I'm kind of getting in on is that these are really specific market situations that they are looking for, and there are certain markets that it's just going to do absolutely terrible on. And today, since we have macro forces moving the markets, and the markets have deemed that this is a buy on the S&P 500 because of inflation and all that sort of stuff, this counter trend strategy is going to be wrong every time. So then the question is, okay, can we determine when that is and not trade that strategy on days like today? Well, I certainly think I could come in and say I don't want to run this particular strategy, or I only want it to take longs today. I could do that. I could add a daily filter to it so that it only takes it when it's, up or down or whatever. Although there's some issues with it, I'm going to go fix that. And even if I did that, well, it'd have to be based off of the RTH too. That's kind of, you need to do something about that. I've done some stats, and like with the ETH start, whether we're above or below that seems to be really, really influential. But in the regular trading session, I think I tested that, but that it wasn't as strong. But then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how do I write that? Because I don't have one that will do both without changing the session template. So. Okay, so that guy took... Yeah, and it's going to do it again. I wonder what happens if I go back and I change it so that if it gets a streak of like 3 in a row, it just stops. Because the issue is that you can come in and you could say, okay, if we're above the open, then only take short longs. Or You don't take it so much against the trend. But because it's kind of like a counter trend thing, if you start adding those kinds of filters, the number of trades that it takes diminishes so much that it's like not worth trading at that point, right? So you kind of have to sit down and say, okay, what can I do to make it so that it's just this particular type of move that it won't trade? How do you do that? Or that it will flip around if it's this particular type of move. You would have to find something that is like what indicates that it's a day like today that only happens on days like today. And I can't think of anything. If you move your stop above 34.72. You must have meant 37.42. Anyways, I'm not moving anything. I mean, it's the whole thing was to watch the robot trade and see that it trades it correctly. And I'm gonna have to double check this one because oh, actually no, I think it's good. I think we're okay. Yeah, no. It's correct. I mean, I'm going to double check it, but I'm pretty sure that it's supposed to be taking all of those traits. It's just kind of like, okay, we clearly know now. We understand a little bit more about why it works and where it doesn't work. Is there something that we can do to stop when it doesn't work? But I'm not going to change the algorithm. I'm not going to, mess around with its entries. So the whole point is to just let it trade and work with what it does. And if we don't like what it does, then we can make modifications to it later today. Could also be in this situation that it's fine, like there are days when they're going to do bad. So just to point out here, look, it did the same thing. Like it went short here. You shorted it? Oh, I'm thinking, yeah, 31 was the first one. I actually do not think that 37.60 is unreasonable. Believe it or not. Now, on the split side, looking at my discretionary trades, okay, so this one over here in ZN was great. Yes, it wasn't perfect, but in the end worked out, and we're still letting this one run, so we'll see how well it does. So we're not done over here, But yesterday I did terrible. Monday, I guess in the end I made out, but I wasn't very happy with it. And I think both of those days, that the big reason why I had difficulty or I didn't do well was because I missed something. You know, there was news, there was things about what was going on and the economic numbers that were released that I didn't catch, that I didn't consider, and that were important to why the market was moving, and they moved against me. So this is where it comes into like, okay, I can certainly come in and say there's this day where this strategy is not going to do well and we should just turn it off. But how effective am I actually at determining that? And the answer is that it's pretty shoddy. I'm not going to say I'm terrible at it. I'm just going to say it's very inconsistent. Well, I'll still try. I think that what I'm going to try is a long-term moving average, and I'm going to tell it, if we're above that moving average, you should reverse it or something. And I'll try a couple of different things. We'll draw some plots. And same here, struggling with consistency. Yeah, and I mean, I think that when your primary edge is going to be news and understanding the market, that's always going to be the thing, is that sometimes you just don't know. You as the person, that's a pretty big wild card. Foreign one of what kind, though? Fomento Económico Mexicano. It's a beverage and retail company. Okay. I don't know if that one really fits into our asset allocation very well, right? I'm more interested in things that are going to be like inflation. Especially now. So I wonder about like a Freeport McMoran or one of those, Like anybody or a steel company could do US Steel. Like I think that anybody that's like making stuff, extracting materials, is probably going to do well. I think that at least in the short term, a lot of these consumer guys are going to do well. But at some point, I think what you're going to get is like stocks are going to go up because of inflation, but that not all of them will, and it will turn into more of a stock picking market. So at that point, I think that we would want to have more exposure to materials and energy. And I tell you, the one that I don't want the most is going to be large tech companies. Like I don't want to be in Google, Amazon, Apple, any of those, because the Democrats are going to hit them, and it's going to be ugly. It's good business, and they're expanding. Well, okay, but I don't care. Do you understand? Like, think about it for a second. We could buy like 2 more stocks here. we have to think about the portfolio as a whole, and having a portfolio so that when one thing's going down, the other thing's going, and taking advantage of the current environment. So if I can only pick two, why would one of them be that? Because I don't think that a beverage company, I mean, that doesn't necessarily put it in consumer staples, but what's this Trump tweet? I missed that. If Vice President Pence comes through for us, we win the presidency. Many states want to decertify the mistake they made in certifying incorrect and even fraudulent numbers in the process not approved by their state legislatures, which it must be. Mike can send it back. I don't know what's going to happen. I really, really don't think that Donald Trump is going to be president, but obviously market doesn't think that there's going to be anything. Well, okay, you say the growth is huge. That's a good argument, but I'm saying that in order for me to buy something, it also has to fit into an asset allocation strategy. Because what if there's a new mutation of the virus that's so deadly and so different that none of the vaccines help, and we have to keep everything locked down for another year, and the government is unable to continue printing money, and the economy just goes completely in the pits, right? What if the border is completely opened and everybody that lives in South America moves to the United States, making that company, hampering that company's growth? Okay, so like there's risks to something, and I'm saying, okay, if I'm gonna have a portfolio, I want to have it geared towards taking advantage of a certain market-wide trends, take advantage of certain risks, and protect against other risks, and have a different stocks so that the whole portfolio isn't all down. If best case scenario is that I'll come in and maybe two of them will be up and two of them will be down or whatever, and I'm going to pick five. Okay. So if I have a bank and I have a small tech company, let's not call it a tech company, let's call it a cloud services company, and I have a rare earth mining's material company, why would the best one be a consumer one at that point? Right? So I'm thinking I want a sector. Okay, what are some sectors I'm interested in? Energy sounds interesting to me because that would protect us against inflation. Consumer discretionary kinds of things, or restaurants, those are interesting to me because those will take advantage of any kind of reflation that we get. So how does a Mexican beverage company help our asset allocation? Well, it gives us exposure to outside of the United States, I guess, but it's still, I mean, it's Mexico, so I don't know if that's really, if you really wanted like a global diversification, I would think that you would want to be going overseas at that point, right? So I don't know if that makes sense. Do you see what I'm getting at? Like, we're trying to have a portfolio here. Well, 3750. That's 3750. I'll put this one out here in case we get there. I have to pay attention. Or the time release vaccine will come out soon. Will be continuously. Maybe it probably could be. It's kind of funny how at the beginning everybody was like, "Oh, this is nothing like the flu," but the further on this gets, the more it seems like that the comparison to the flu kind of matters, even though they're different. Like, because we have a continuously rolling vaccine for the flu, and the flu kills a lot of people every year, but you don't see everybody freaking out about it. Now, of course, flu doesn't have as high of a hospitalization rate. That's the key difference, but. It just goes and goes. Like, this has not even close to any kind of a pullback. Maybe this is the pain trade? I don't know. We really have to go back to this chart over here, right? Like, come on. Why? You know what? My freaking thing is busted. Hold on a second. I've been having some weirdness with my pen. I don't know what it is that causes it. No, Travis is dead, Big Toasty. Travis is dead. Anyways, this big down move, why? Was it because Democrats were going to win the election? Okay, Democrats won the election and now they're buying it. And that means that maybe this is something different. I don't know. Can you sell? I mean, you could have them if you wanted, I think. Except for that. Let me see. I freaking closed the editor window again. I don't understand what your deal is with Travis. Yeah. Here. I will show you Travis. This is Travis. Travis was applying the TSI indicator to cumulative delta and adding a filter based on also running R2 on the delta. Also running R2 on delta. And that was the filter, and that's what it was taking it off of. And when I did some more thorough back testing yesterday, it did not pass the cut. And so I not using him anymore because it was a failed strategy. We could try modifying him and maybe we could find something that helps him, but that combined, when I did that and then I started thinking back on the trades that we had seen him make, it was like, yeah, it doesn't actually work. And the inefficiency that, made me think that it was working before, like I can see how it tricked me and all that. So it doesn't work. You can have him if you want, but my understanding is that he loses. Yep. I mean, I'm not really all that interested in a challenge, but I'm going to pick 5. I'm trying to pick 5 stocks, and they'll see how it does. And I'll tell you what, well, yeah, I don't know if I necessarily want everybody on the stream to know what they are, but I'll tell you what they are. And you can compare if you want. By the way, let's see where some of these stocks are at now. Because this is just taken off. So did some of these ones take off as well? Yeah, MP's doing okay. Up 6%. Sumo not so much. VIX is now below Monday's levels. Goldman's just, man. For a bank to be up 5% in a day is like, wow, wow, wow. In fact, I think, how do you... It is. Oh, it's so close. It's so close. My Goldman Sachs stock is almost to the point where it's doubled in value. So the Border Collie will pick. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I've done it on paper, but I've never had enough to buy 5 stocks. So, no, I'm showing this screen. Showing this screen. So I don't know how effective the asset allocation is going to be. I buy them and sim trading view is fantastic. No. I don't. Do you understand? Like, I want to practice managing a portfolio. I'm gonna pick 5 stocks. I'm gonna go through a process. Why you're trying to convince me to not use the process for some reason? Like, why? I don't get it. I'm going to decide what are the man, what is the word that we use? It kind of means like society-wide trends, demographic trends. I don't know. Basically, I sit down and I say, what are the larger trends that I want to take advantage of and that I want to be hedged against? And I set up an asset allocation in centered around that. And then I pick a stock in those areas that I think is the best stock. And then we see what it is. I'm still in the ES, yeah. It's not yet. I was going to say, I think that, I don't even know what we're going to call him. But this other... The strategy, is he... Yeah, he is. He should be done. I don't think it should take any more trades. So I'm pretty darn sure that... Yeah, it is. He hit his loss limit. That's right. Okay, cool. We're good. Okay, well, then have the Border Collie pick 5 stocks. How do you manage the trades? No, I do by... So you're talking about here on the ES? What are you trying to understand exactly, Big Toasty? I get some issues on market replay. ATM strategies do weird things unless you're like running them on sim. Like you can't backtest them, is my understanding. So on this one over here, I don't know what you're trying to ask, to be honest. No. So the robots are taking set targets. The robots, it's like 6. This one, it's like a stop of 6 and a reward factor of 5. The one that's doing well. And the other one is just 1-to-1, I believe. Maybe I should make it smaller. 8-to-8. 8 ticks, 8 ticks instead of 16 to 16. I myself, I do it differently. I tend to have an area that I think it's going to go to. I try and build up the position where it is now, especially if I think it's overextending the wrong way, and then hold it to that target. So in this instance, the place that I think it's likely to get to is 37.60. It's going. It still looks strong. Lou says, is that a Fibonacci target? No, it's the VIX projected range. I don't think that Fibonacci's matter at all, but could be wrong. I haven't specifically tested that one. Found a template in an app shared NinjaTrader which allows you to manage your trades with a trailing stop and a trailing profit target. Well, so I don't know how you do it with a trailing profit target, but NinjaTrader comes with a built-in trailing stop and a built-in parabolic stop. So this is why I'm saying that, like, every time that I stick those sorts of if I go in and I just say, okay, we'll trail it, you use a trailing stop and backtest it, it makes it less profitable. Like, honestly, the whole idea behind a trailing stop doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. The amount of money that you've made on a trade has absolutely no correlation to how much more you'll make on it or how much it can actually pull back on you. And so when you have a certain trailing stop, especially if it's, you know, a reasonable amount, you're almost always going to, you're always losing a certain amount that it comes back on, right? So in the end, you're always making less money, and it's way better to just have your exit based off of something that you actually know matter, like a certain price level that you know based off of certain information has a higher probability of being touched. Then you can get out there and, you know, like, I have a good chance of getting that, and I can just hold it. And if I don't get that, then I just don't get that. And you can game all your stats off of that and say, okay, I only get it 20% of the time, but when I do, I make like 10 times my money, so it works out. I'm too lazy to program it. Yeah, you don't have to program it. It comes. It's built in. It's literally you go into strategy, on status changed, status equals configure, and say set trailing stop. And then you have to say how, you know, how far back in the offset. You just got to search the API, my friend. I feel kind of cranky, even though, like, look, I'm doing awesome. Look at that. Da, 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 da. Oh, and what do you know? People are taking profits there at 37.60. I wonder why they might do that, guys. Is it because there's a widely followed edge that large traders are using to calculate how far things will go, and that they use that to take their profits at a price that has a high probability of touching? Okay, anyways. Nah. So here's how you set a stop, just for starters, okay? Set stop loss, the mode, and the value. And the mode can be, if you want the currency, a percentage of your position, the price, a number of ticks or pips. So I usually just say ticks. I want to take 16 ticks profit. But you could also sit down in this particular case, like for instance, you had the VIX target, and you could say, okay, hold it until the VIX target. missed 2R by 1 tick there. You probably had it at a slightly different spot. Anyways, I put it at 60 because that's where the size was. But you should almost always expect that when that happens, that there's going to be people stopping out and a bunch of volume coming out. And you can see it happened. So anyways, okay, so here's how you set a stop loss, right? Now we'll come back over here and we can, there's a parabolic stop and here's a trailing stop. Okay. So note you can't use it concurrently with set stop loss and set parabolic stop, which kind of doesn't make any sense. So that's cool. Your stop market orders. So there's some stuff having to do with multiple bars objects. So I've found that you can get this weird situation where like the strategy when you're back testing, it will only take entries and exits based off of like the opening, like the close of a bar. And so you have to add another data series. So what I've been doing is I've been back testing it on 1 tick data. Like the primary series will be 1 tick, and then I'll add a secondary series that has the 1 minute and all the stuff that I'm actually using. And then you get more accurate results coming out. Because otherwise what'll happen is you'll say, oh, my stop is supposed to be 16, and it'll come out and you get like 20. And that's what was happening. That's what I changed yesterday that killed some of those strategies. Okay, so here you can say the mode and the value. So you can trail it by %, ticks, or pips. So in this case, we probably would want to do ticks. And then value is the value the trail stop order is offset from the position entry price. Exception is using price mode where value will represent the actual price. Using dot price, but you can't use dot price. It actually says that you can use %, ticks, and pips. Okay, well, whatever. So you can say set a trail stop calculation mode dot ticks 12. How did you know they would take profits? Because we've done statistics on how far it moves, and we know that that's a significant spot. Where is that picture? Yeah. This is like way too off of the beaten road of what we're doing here. He wants to see a trailing stop. So we're going to do it. Like, kill that one. Do Mr. Joseph Fournier. No, I think it's Fourier. Anyways. I don't think I want to show everything about how this works. That's cool. Oh, okay. Here we go. So I can comment this line out, and I'm going to say set trail stop calculation mode dot ticks. Oh, you can use price. Okay. Comma stop. Da, 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 da. And make sure debug mode is off. So it is fast. Okay. Turn the log off. Make this much smaller. Okay. And we'll use the sealer one. Okay, so the stop is 16, and we also have stop limits, by the way. Oh, no, wait. Let's do it the regular way first. Okay. And on this, we're going to want to go way back, right? Go back to the beginning of 2020 first. Food commission, break it in a day. I don't know why that just ticked on me. Okay. So we will run this back test. Oh, I didn't select an instrument, did I? ES 0321. Well, that's wrong. And change this so that you don't have to hear that. Okay. There you go. Zero Hedge tweets. Stock surge on expectations. Dems will unleash imminent stimulus tsunami. Look at that. They pulled back from the 60. Do you think maybe there's something to that price, guys? Here's the thing. How do you define that a price matters? Right? And you could go and you could do some stats and things like this. But here's something that I literally have not seen a time where that price did not matter. Literally haven't seen it. Because all the option traders there, that's how they price. After 60, these guys that are selling options are screwed. That's why it matters. Okay. So here's the back test over a past year. This is what it does normally. Note that it only takes long trades. It takes long trades, and it's more of a YOLO, right? The average losing trade is 16, average winning trade is 71, and that is mostly because it it runs out of time for them to run. Oh, I just used the instrument settings. Well, it doesn't matter. It made money anyways. Okay. Now I'm going to come and I'm going to set the trailing stop. Oh, actually, I guess we need to show the log. Okay. Hopefully that stays. So let's just note that we made about $30,000 on that one, all right? Sometimes it'll do this thing where, the old one will go blank for whatever reason. I don't know what the deal is with that, but what was showing 37.60 as an important price? Go and watch the video using VIX. What is it called? I have a video about it. VIX projected ranges. VIX projected ranges. Okay, it's done compiling. Okay. So do you see there what happened? So because I used the trailing stop, it actually increased my win rate, but it decreased my average winner to average loser, right? My average winner to average loser is now only 2-1, which isn't enough to make money because it's the trailing stop. The trailing stop takes you out earlier and reduces the length of your winners. Now we could backtest it. We could try and optimize it. Let's try and optimize it. No, I'll just leave that off. Oh, what did I have it on? True. Oh, so then why isn't it true over here? Should be true over here. Whatever. There is a stop. Okay, so I can say we'll do everything from an 8-tick stop to a 64-tick stop. We'll be really generous with it, and we'll use it for, we'll increment by 4. You got some bad shorts, but made up for it, but didn't take any more trades. So mad I can't find a good place to get back in. Huh. Well, yeah, I'd be careful now that we've touched the projected range bit. Okay, so we actually, if you take a really huge stop, what is that? If you take a 60-tick stop, then it makes money. And somebody's calling me. Don't know who it is. How many? Okay, cool. So you need a minimum of a 48-tick stop to make money. But then here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Even if you set that stop to be larger than the 16-tick stop that we originally tested with, this was 16, right? And you use a trailing stop, we still made more money with the set targets. Do you see that? This one down here was the original one that we did, right? This was the original one. This was with a 16-tick stop, trailing stop, and this was trying to optimize the trailing stop. Made it worse. This is probably like the 4th time I've done this before, but every time that I try and use a trailing stop, it makes the strategy worse. I would be the world's best trader if I had 48-tick stops. Well, I tell you what, man, to get what is its winner getting at here though? Oh, even here, even with this one, it doesn't quite get a large enough thing. It's because you understand, you're giving it less room, right? Like, if you have a stock and it's going, blah, 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 blah. The squawk is talking in my ear. If I get in here and it goes up like this, okay, and I have a stop, and my stop is like this. Woo. Right? That's what you're all thinking. Oh, okay, yeah. Trailing stop should work. It only works if you're picking something that is like really short-term momentum. Okay? So if you're in a trade that it's like it's only going to be in there for a few seconds, then maybe a trailing stop might make sense. Okay. But that's not the way that things tend to work. What things tend to work is more like this. Oh, and then it finally goes up there, right? It's like you get the signal that it's going to do the thing, and then it's all a matter of like you holding it, and hopefully your stop is down here, right? And then this goes up so far that you get 5 times your reward. At least that's what this one's trying to do. That's how this works, right? Come back and look at the stat. It only goes along. The main reason it makes money is because it only goes along. But when you look at the average adverse excursion on it, it's basically 16 ticks. So I see a chart pattern, the holy giraffe. Okay, now let's try the other one. We had parabolic stop. Okay. So we can say the mode ticks. The value, the trail stop is offset from the position entry price. Set the acceleration, maximum acceleration, and the step. Okay. So I'm just going to type it over here where you guys can't see it. Set parabolic stop. Oh, you can just do these two. Well, let's just do these two. Calculation mode dot ticks, comma stop. Dun, 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 and ba-dum. But I'll have the same issue. The squawk is talking in our ears now, right? It's really hard to talk and then have a squawk in your ear, though. Okay. If you're just trading, I don't have a problem. But yeah, if you had to talk to other people, you probably would turn me off, wouldn't you? Okay. So the parabolic stop is even worse? Is that what it's saying to me? Parabolic stop even worse? Huh. So there was another version of it here. Let's go back. Okay. Well, to do this one, I have to have a name, apparently. So it would be this, comma, calculation mode dot ticks, comma, stop, comma, oh, is stimulated stop, false, acceleration max, acceleration step. I then am going to make properties for all of these. I don't know why it's doing the... Oh, I see why. That one at least. Oops. What about really slow acceleration? Well, why shall see. Pretty sure. Well, I don't know. We're just gonna have to find. Maybe I should set it to be able to go up to 0.2. To go up to 2. Can it get acceleration that high? I don't know what the really acceptable range of values actually is going to be here. Because this is going to create like 1,000 different iterations. Well, let's see what we get. 60,000. It's too much. Yeah, they're just continuing on now. Okay. Oh, well. So if I put that to 0.1, what happens? If I put that to 0.001, what happens? Okay. And if I put that to 0.1, what happens? It's much closer. Oh, acceleration max makes a much bigger difference. Oh, as does the acceleration step. So, shall we try it? We'll try this one with 0.02. And, oops. What were the default values again? 0.2, 0.002. Mm-hmm. It only decreased it by half. Abort, abort, abort. Let's just try iterating on each one of those properties one at a time instead. How about that? So that should be more like a few hundred. Yeah. Yeah, let's blunt post charts. I don't get it. That's cool, but why don't you write that into a strategy and run a back test over a 4-year time period and then show us how it works? I can't believe that it lets him post a link. It should not. It should not let him post links. I guess TradingView is whitelisted or something? No one wants to see what traders do. No, nobody wants to see a cherry-picked example of something that proves absolutely nothing. So one version of it does. So much buying. Well, yeah, they're up here, man. Being now 37.66 is pretty wild. I think the next step is going to be, yeah, it is actually. The next major price that I see is 73, which was Monday's high. And then it'll be all-time high. Okay. You keep telling yourself that? You say that you've been trading for 25 years. I've heard plenty of people say that, and they're full of shit. There are people I've met that have been trading for 25 years and still lose money. If something has an edge, we're going to have to provide real evidence for it and a picture of it happening one time on this particular move tells you jack shit. And quite frankly, for you to come in here and to show me a picture like that and then say, see, look, all you got to do is do what I tell you to, and then you'll make money, makes me think that you're even more likely full of shit, because somebody that's really a successful trader would know that that tells you nothing. Somebody that's a really 25 years of trading and has been really successful with this would know that to really prove something out, you're going to have to show some results over a long period of time. Not only that, but like, it was like, geez. Yeah. Okay, well. I have no interest in people coming in and trying to sell people on something like that. The best thing is that his chart doesn't even show anything. Dude, nothing's. You're full of shit. Well, I'm just thinking about what we want to do with this, with the parabolic thing, but I don't know, man. It looks to me like for the parabolic to even make a difference, that you just end up taking like a ton of risk. It doesn't look like it works at all. But I'm sure that there's probably a lot more that you can get into it on the settings if there's somebody that really uses PSAR and they could find stuff. I can show you the chart. It was a chart. He had a chart of, was it today? Yeah, I think he had a chart of today. And like, it doesn't show you what any of the indicators that he has on are. He got a bunch of moving averages, and he's like, okay. He got entering at the 50. I guess he's saying enter when it broke the 50 moving average, and then ride it until it gets up there. So he's suggesting that you should use a moving average crossover strategy, which, at least to me, that looks like it's a moving average crossover strategy. And we've backtested those, and we have a whole video where you can go and look at moving average crossover strategies, and we prove that they don't work. So, nah, I am grumpy today, but he was saying shit yesterday. And here's the thing. I don't have to put up with anybody that I don't want to. Right? I have 100% control. So if somebody's going to come in and they're going to post charts, they're not going to really explain it. They're just going to be like, oh, I'm the greatest trader ever. You should just do what I do. But I'm not going to explain what it is, and I'm not going to prove it to you. I'm just going to put stuff out there and then say, well, if you don't believe me, it doesn't matter if you don't believe me. But then get the fuck out. You're not doing anything. There's no point in you being here. Go away. Unless you're going to provide actual real evidence behind what you say, I have no use for you. Get the fuck out. And I can do that because I'm in complete treacher. Oh, the robots are still going? Did it finally take a long? No, they went short. No, wait. Oh, now that's interesting. That's very interesting, actually. Did you see Renko bars on? Did I close it? I really hate how I do that. Nah, those aren't Renko bars. Oh, actually, there are those Heikenishis. Maybe those are Heikenishis, huh? Yeah. So there's definitely something wrong with the strategy here, because the inventory bars shouldn't have taken another trade. It's reached a $1,000 realized loss. It should have hit the thing that says I'm taken too many trades and yada, yada, yada. So I'm not sure what's going on there. The Fourier took along, and it's good. I'm surprised that they're taking it so late into our day. Looks like hiking the shoes. Yep. They say the volume is drying up. I mean, it's 9:30. There's London closes coming in here, right? Anyways, oh, by the way, look at the volume at 137. Holy snikes. I don't think I've ever seen an order that big sitting at a price. Holy crap. Well, I'm going to be interested to see where the treasury ends up today. I'm wondering if I should try and, just hold it till the close and then be done with it, or if I should just like hold this open all month. HF says hiking a she is for kids. I haven't really used them, but when I look at them, it kind of makes me think that it's a lot like Renko bars, where the difference of the bars, it doesn't really do anything for you, except for in your head. You know what I mean? It's just spoofing them. I don't know, man. I mean, the 18,000. Here's the thing: if you put up an 18,000 order at 137 and then nothing happens when we trade it, you pull it, you're definitely going to get regulators on your butt. I bet that it's real. I bet you that the market maker here from the overnight session came out and he said, "Yeah, we just want to be short." So they were market making short because 16,000 is about what you would get like on the close. So he might just be sitting there and saying, okay, well, like 137 is like way further than I thought I would get. So I'll take it all off there if that's what you guys are going to do. Could be. Be careful though. Often what happens when an order like that, when it gets, holy shit. Okay, he's spread it out. He's listening to me. He's like, oh, okay, you know what? You're right. I can't just put it all at one price. I need to spread it out a little. No, he moved it up. I'm just telling you, man, if they touch that and it doesn't execute, that is an SEC investigation. For sure. You cannot, that is not legal. I wonder what, because it went in a step like that, I wonder if that's not all one guy, though. I think I have my market depth tape, yeah. My depth tape is filtering out stuff that's too far away so it can see the change. Never traded ZN. Well, don't you wish you did it today? I tell you what, man. The Treasury is probably the most efficient instrument. When I'm backtesting stuff, I very often will try it first on the Treasury, because if you're going to have a technical pattern that like works in all markets, then the one market that's going to screw it up is going to be the Treasury. So try it on the Treasury first, right? But the nice thing about the Treasury is that it will trend and it moves slowly. So on a day like today, when there's a very clear and obvious trade that, okay, Democrats won the House or the Senate, they're going to have more stimulus and be fiscally irresponsible and create inflation. It's a no-brainer. You just sell it and look at it. Like, I never had to touch it. It came back on me and I was able to just double down on it. Like most days, it's just going to be frustrating as hell. But on a day like today, it's so easy. And it makes you think, man, why don't more retail traders watch the 10-year? So they're not patient enough. Okay, well, I guess that's it. It's time for me to get going. I hope that what I showed you guys there with the PSAR was, with the parabolic stops and the trailing stop kind of proved the point about stop losses. The only way that I really see stop losses, trailing stops like that really working is on very, very short-term trades where it's literally like you want it to go all in one direction, and if it turns back at all, you can get out. Then it works. Otherwise, for anything that you're going to be in for 5 to 30 minutes, every test that I've done, it just reduces profits. What's the tick value in ZN? It is $15.62.5 or something like that. It's 1,000 divided by 64. So for me to get 500 here, if they get there, that would be 32 ticks. Which would be the largest winner I've ever caught on the 10-year, I think. Mental stop, okay, fair. You should always have an emergency stop of some kind out there, dude. Always. So you never know when this is going to drop a whole, I mean, I've seen it happen where it just drops a whole handle or whatever. And then guess what? You just lost $1,000 when you could have just had a stop. have it, but down in a spot where there's like no chance that it's ever going to get touched, and make sure that you're getting out before that, but always have some sort of a stop. All right. Stay profitable, friends. I'll see you tomorrow.